Hello everyone, Tim here with Tech Muscle. Today I would like to talk about cardio for fat loss. Is cardio the best thing for fat loss? Well, I'd like to talk about it because I hear about it a lot in the bodybuilding world, that cardio for fat loss. Cardio. Okay? And for some people, what they're calling cardio may be cardio for them. For most people, it is not cardio for them, and I will explain why cardio is not the best for fat loss. Not true cardio, okay? Um, and why a lot of, in the bodybuilding community, or I should say fitness community, but I know a lot of it's coming from even the powerlifting community, but I believe a lot from the bodybuilding community. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I'm not saying there's anything wrong, officially wrong with what they're saying in a way, but technically it is wrong because cardio is not the best thing for fat loss. It is not. If you understand what true cardio is, what cardio is, okay, first off, the word cardio refers to the heart, okay? Now, the heart and the lungs are tied together. So you work the heart harder, the lungs are going to have to work harder. You work the lungs harder, the heart has to work harder. Okay, they go in the same. And you mostly as a trainer, I would track it by the heart rate. I can track it by breathing, but it's not as accurate of a test to know when my client is in a fat burning state or if they are in a cardio state. Okay, one state is great for burning fat. Okay, and the other state is great for conditioning your heart. Okay, so really how I would go about going into a fat burning stage, the best and safest way for my clients, usually especially if they're beginners, I put them on a treadmill, elliptical, bicycle, whatever, depending on the client, whatever's best for them. And I have them go at a moderate rate, and I set a little bit of resistance. Say on the incline, you can set your resistance as a little bit, or I'm sorry, on the treadmill, you can set your resistance as incline, okay? That's going to make you work harder, okay? When you're walking uphill, it's harder than walking on flat ground. Makes sense. So now your body's working harder. It has to pull more energy. It has to use more oxygen. So therefore, the lungs have to uptake more oxygen, which means they have to breathe harder. They have to breathe faster, harder, deeper. And your heart is going to have to pull nutrients and things, your glucose, your ATP. I could go into all that, and I'm not going to. But it has to produce the energy to continue to go, to compensate for the now load that you have put on your body. And that's a good thing, okay? Because now your body's going to be saying, well, I have this load on me all the time. I need to improve. And that's how your stamina improves, your strength improves, all that type of stuff. Okay, so we have a fat burn zone and a cardio zone, okay? Your fat burn zone, for me, I'm a male, 47 years old, and my fat burn zone ends at about 135 beats per minute, okay? So at resting, I am in a fat burn zone. That is absolutely true. You wouldn't think so. But while you're sitting here, while you're sleeping, you are in a fat burn zone, but you are at the bottom of the fat burn zone. Sure, yes, yeah, absolutely you are. Doesn't make sense, right? If I sit around, I'm burning fat. Yes, you are. Your heart is beating. Your blood is flowing. Even if you don't think you're doing anything, you are, okay? And here's why after 135 beats per minute for me, which is accelerated, my resting heart rate's like 73 beats per minute, okay? So 73 beats per minute is the bottom of my fat burn zone. 135 beats is the top of my fat burn zone, which means I'm burning the most fat at 135 beats per minute, okay? And that's like a brisk walk with a 5% incline on the treadmill. You can, I know they have heart rate monitors. Beware, they're not that accurate. There's other tests you can do. I suggest getting a trainer and having them monitor your heart rate. And they should know, a real certified personal trainer, not somebody who's just lifted for a long time. Okay, it's not the same thing because even though they're going to know what they're doing in some ways, sure they are. Because of experience, they do not have the scientific background that a trainer with a good certification is going to have. Which is why I'm making this video and it just drives me nuts that people call cardio fat burn, or say cardio is best for fat burn. Okay. So to continue, the reason my body will quit burning fat, it will, after 135 beats per minute, my body is going to quit burning fat. And this is the reason why. Fat does not burn, it oxidizes. It takes oxygen to get rid of the fat stored in your cells, okay? So after 135 beats per minute, if the heart and the lungs are tied together, after 135 beats per minute, my lungs are working pretty hard to keep up with the heart, okay? Which means the body says, okay, lungs are working at about maximum capacity. So, and then we're starting to go even faster. So now we're going to have to cut something out to keep up. So what it's going to do, it's going to say, hey, oxygen is being used to get rid of this fat after 135 beats per minute. So we have to stop this. Okay. The body's designed for homeostasis. It does not understand what you're doing, okay? It understands survival. That's what homeostasis is. Your body wants to survive, and that's it. That's why it makes the changes, does the healing, does the things it does without you even thinking about it, okay? It just does it. It's designed for homeostasis. That's it. It's a scientific fact. So a lot of people, though, they get on the cardio, they do a little incline, they do a little walking, and they talk about, hey, I did 20 minutes of cardio. No, you didn't. Your heartbeat didn't get over 135 beats per minute. You are not in the cardio zone, okay? Cardio zone is between 135 beats per minute, and I think my maximal heart rate is like 175 beats per minute, maybe 180 beats per minute, which is like the red line, okay? You don't want to... There's a formula. I'll put it at the end of this video. It'll be another video. It's a mathematical formula. It's not very hard, okay? If you can multiply... and multiply with decimals, simple decimals, okay? And if you can't, use a calculator. It'll do it for you. Do the formula. It's a 3-step formula. It's so easy, okay? You never have to... If you've taken basic math, you can do this. It's not algebra. I do have an X for the variable, but I think you'll kind of understand why the X's and stuff are in algebra after you see this, because it's so simple, and this is not algebra. So just watch the video. You'll understand, okay? So between that range, 135 beats per minute and 175, okay? Any of that range is cardio. Now that is going to be beneficial to your heart. Your heart is working hard enough that now your heart, when it's done, is going to say, hey, there was an overload on me. I need to strengthen, okay? But now that's a cardio zone, okay? Strengthening your heart. But you're using so much oxygen when you get up there, the body cuts off the oxidization to your fat to conserve oxygen, because it says, hey, we need a lot of oxygen to keep up with this rapid pace. We need to cut every, it's like cutting, it's like an overweight plane throwing out stuff because they can't fly, hey, we have too much dragging us down, we gotta go. We need to cut some stuff off, or like a corporate office making cuts to make their budget, your body has to make cuts, okay? And it's going to cut any oxygen use, okay? Makes sense, doesn't it? Wow. So, for me, like I said, cardio zone, then there's the fat burn zone, okay? And so you would think, well, why can't I just sit around and burn fat and eat and I'm still fine? Why do I have to even get myself to the higher end of the fat zone? Well, or fat burning zone. Well, I should say fat oxidization zone, because that's really what it is. When you hit the top end, it's like driving a car. When you're going faster, you're going to use more gas, okay? So if you're walking on a treadmill, say for 20, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, I wouldn't recommend doing more than 45 minutes if your goal is fat loss, because then you're going to start eating muscle. I could go, that'll be another video. But just keep it under 45 minutes. So this is good news for you, right? You want to lose some fat? You're telling me I don't have to run? I don't have to run fast? No. I don't have to run more than Say 20 to 45 minutes? Really? Yes, that's absolutely true. Of course, if you take in more calories than you're going to burn, even with your running, then you are going to continue to gain fat or not lose fat. I mean, uh, that's fairly simple too. You do have to restrict your calories a little bit, but now when you add the running, you're burning even more calories out of your body, putting you in an even greater calorie deficit, meaning your body's going to be forced to burn fat for the fuel. Okay, it's not as much food in your stomach, doesn't have that for fuel. Your body uses what's readily available. There's not much food because you've cut your calories some, not to an extreme point, but some. And it's going to be forced to use that fat. It's going to have enough oxygen that it's not going to cut off the fat burning process. And you're going to, that is how you are going to burn fat. Have you ever went to bed and woke up in the morning and it seemed like you were a little bit skinnier? You didn't have quite as much fat. That's why, because while you were sleeping, you were burning fat. Yes, you were, while you were asleep, because you are below the cardio zone, okay? So I want you to understand there's a fat burn zone and a cardio zone, okay? So I hear a lot, even in the bodybuilding community, that cardio. Like I said, okay, and I said I would tell you why, or at least I can speculate why. I'm pretty sure I'm not. All right, there's no other explanation. Why not? Okay. And this can also go for people on certain blood pressure medications. But people in the bodybuilding world, they do use performance-enhancing substances. And you may or may not believe that because I'll be honest with you, a lot of them lie about it. Okay? They want you to believe they're all natural. Oh no, I did this with all hard work. No, you didn't. You didn't get that big and that fast. You didn't drop weight that fast. You didn't do any of that without using a performance-enhancing drug. Do I recommend them? No. Would I use them? Sure. But at this point, for most people, there's not enough protocol for how you're supposed to do them, and you can really hurt yourself if you don't know what you're doing with them. So, okay, these performance-enhancing drugs raise your resting heart rate, okay? So to begin with, okay, some of the ones I've done have raised mine from like around 70 beats per minute to around 90 to 100 beats per minute, okay? And so therefore, your heart rate is already up there. Gee, why do steroids, or I shouldn't say, there's a lot of performance-enhancing drugs out there, or even fat loss supplements that have caffeine and stuff, speed in them, which raise your heart rate. So gee, why are they noted to have fat burning properties? Because it raises your heart rate, but raises it to an upper level of your fat burn. So therefore, you're going to burn more fat. So these guys, though, they get on the treadmill, or girls do it too. They get on the treadmill and they do a fast walk. And they are calling it cardio, and it may be cardio, it may be not, depending on how fast they walk, because they're going to get to, obviously going to get to the upper region of their fat burn faster. And likely, if they go moderate, they will stay in the fat burn zone and not in a cardio zone. And they're saying, hey, I do cardio. I got to do cardio for my heart. Well, unless you're monitoring your heart rate, you do not know if you're doing cardio or you're doing fat burn. You just don't. You are guessing. Maybe if you've monitored it enough and you know by your breathing and your speed and you've tracked all that, then you can start to not actually monitor the heart rate, because you know, when I go this speed, my heart rate's this, okay? And then sometimes they may or may not compensate for the PED they're on. And boom, they don't even know if they're in a fat burn zone, a cardio zone. They're preaching cardio for fat zone, or I'm sorry, for fat burn. And they're not even in the cardio, or in the cardio zone yet. Or if they are, they're maybe a little bit, and they probably fluctuate their speed so they come back down into it a bit or whatever. They use some advanced techniques. So, but my point is, it's not really cardio. They think it is, but it's not. You're not going past the fat burn zone, even with your elevated heart rate. You know, you think you are, but are you tracking your heart rate? Tell me. So, there's pretty much why cardio is not good for fat burning. It's not. Now, if you do cardio, obviously you have to come up through the fat burn zone, and you're going to go through that. Sure, you're going to burn some fat and at a faster rate than you are if you're sitting or sleeping. But once you cross that border into the cardio zone, that's all gone. Okay, now you are improving your heart, and that's great. And sure, you're burning calories, but now your calories are being pulled from other places like muscle. Okay, tell me, have you ever seen a super muscular marathon runner that has 20-inch arms? No, I have never in my life seen one. Because once they hit that zone, they're, guess what? It's either their food, glucose, or their muscle that they're burning for fuel. Yes, the muscles. After that, especially if you don't have a high protein diet, it's going to turn for muscles for fuel. Okay, it has to burn something for that energy, and it can't burn the fat. Not where you want to be if you're in cardio, right? So is cardio good for fat burn? No. Okay, I don't mean to keep going on about this, but some people don't get it, and I feel like I have to drive it in their head. Understand what you're doing. There's so much false information, and it's and they're not even doing that on purpose. They're not giving you false information on purpose, okay? They honestly believe they are doing cardio, and they are not. Okay? When I hear it, I already, when they say, "Hey, cardio for fat loss," I already know what they mean. You know, it's not cardio, but I know what they mean. So I just, you know, it bugs me, but I'm not going to say anything because they are trying to help you and do the right thing, okay? It's just that they are not educated enough as far as, I should say, physiology in the science, exercise science. There we go. They're not educated in exercise science enough. You know, I'll probably get people that will blow up. So, oh, I know what I'm talking about. And this, I've been bodybuilding for years. I've been doing this. Yeah, go read some scholarly studies by scientists. Okay, go ask somebody with a master's degree in exercise science. Okay, they will tell you. Go look at your freaking gym chart. A lot of gyms will have a chart on the wall that show your heart rate. Okay, and it will show fat burn zone up to about so and so, and it'll give an age. It's like a chart with your heart rate and your age, okay, and then you match the two, you know, simple graph, and then you see where it intersects. Okay, so if I'm 40 some years old, my heart rate so and so, here's my fat burn zone. If I go beyond that, guess what the higher heart rates say? Cardio. Oh my gosh, gee, the scientists that made that the gym that has all kinds of liability, you know, they're putting false information up on their wall. No, they are not. Okay, so like it's a bit of a rant for me, I suppose, as much as I am furthering education and just building you up, because the more you know, the more you're going to be able to handle life. And don't make the mistake of running to lose fat. Don't run. Okay, if you can adjust your treadmill back down to the flat and maybe do a jog for fat loss. Okay, the point is monitor your heart rate. Look at my video at the end of this, how to calculate your heart rate. Okay, and you will find where the top of your fat burn zone is, and you will also find your red line for your cardio, so you'll know from resting to your fat burn. That's great. And once you get into cardio, you can run it all the way up to scientifically the red line. I don't like to get even within 10 beats per minute of my red line. Think about red line in your car. You don't really always take it to the red line, do you? Maybe you can, but you're pushing it. Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, which is fine. A lot of people do and get away with it, but it only takes once to have a heart attack. So there it is. Obviously, resistance training. Sure, yes, lifting weights is going to raise your heart rate. Walking is one of the best things you can do to burn fat. Okay. I wanted to mention something also, not performance enhancing drugs that are causing people's heart rates to raise, and therefore they think they're in a cardio zone, and they think that's what's attributing to the fat loss, and it's not, and they just still have not yet crossed the threshold despite the elevated heart rate. Okay, They think they did, but they didn't because they're not tracking it, and they don't realize really how to track it. So that's that. Lots of walking, resistance training, doing your housework, just functional activity, staying active. You ever hear the doctor say that? Just stay active. I think they knew what they were talking about. You're going to listen to Joe Blow, bodybuilder over here that probably has never been to college in his life. When you say physiology, this physio who? I don't know, lift heavy weights and do cardio. It's true because they're blindly doing it, but they don't understand what they're doing. And for you bodybuilders and such and PED users, I like I said, I'm not knocking you because you're doing something good. I mean, you're in the gym, you're doing your stuff, and you may be a very well good bodybuilder, and you may do better than people that do actually even know the science. Okay, it's just because you're blindly hitting it, and maybe your genes are better or something. There's just a lot of variables. So, all right. So when you hear cardio for fat loss, understand it. Don't say anything. I'm telling you, you're going to tick somebody off because they think they're right. But technically, they're not. Cardio is not good for fat loss. Okay. Here's another small tip for for the fat zone, real quick. I'll do a whole nother video on this. Okay. Have you ever heard of the HIIT training, the high intensity training, or interval training? Let's just say interval training more so. The HIIT is somewhat interval training in itself, but interval training, okay? So I have a resting heart rate of 73 beats per minute. Okay, I'm going to make this quick. The video is almost over. Take your education, go with it, know what you're doing, okay? This is going to help you, especially if you don't understand what you're doing. It's going to help you dial in your fat loss a bit more, okay? So my resting heart rate 73 beats per minute. The top of my fat burn zone is 135 beats per minute. Okay, so I start going on the treadmill. It's not quite enough, so I like to increase my heart rate by the incline rather than jog. Either way, I can jog. It's just I like to save my knees, so I do the incline. It's a little easier on my knees. Okay, so I'm doing it. Okay, I get up around 135 beats per minute. Okay, that's great, and I'm at the top of my fat burn zone. But how do I maximize that further? Or can I? Absolutely you can. So what you're going to do, you're going to run it up to 135 beats per minute. You're going to get to the top, okay? And then you're going to hold that for about a minute if you can, however long you can, okay? I understand it takes time to build your stamina, your oxygen uptake and all that type of stuff, okay? So you're going to, then after you can't stand it, or about a minute, then you're going to slow your incline or slow your speed. And a lot of these treadmills and such will have an interval program where it will do it automatically for you. Okay, so what you're doing is you're going to the top of your fat burn, and you're coming back down. You're not going to go all the way back down to resting, but you're going to come back down to say like around 100 beats per minute. And then and it's going to take a few minutes for your heart to calm back down to there. Okay, it speeds up faster than it slows down. Okay, so then you slow back down, you get back down to 100 beats per minute, then you crank up the intensity and you come back up to 135 beats per minute. Okay, and so what that's doing, that's really forcing a lot more fat burn, because in order to come up to when you're accelerating, it takes a lot more force to accelerate. Once you're at that steady speed, it's easier to hold the speed. But when you're accelerating, it's a lot more work for your body, meaning you're going to pull even more fat for the energy. Okay, so 100 beats to 135. Slow back down. 135. Slow back down. 135. That's where this interval training, and is largely what HIIT training is based upon, okay, for fat loss. And the best way, my first boss as I was a personal trainer, did in fact have a master's degree in exercise science. And he told me the best way he could explain it is it's like driving a car in the city versus steady on the highway, okay? Your gas mileage in the city is much less than on the highway, where even though you're going faster, it's at a steady pace, you're locked in one gear, you're just, boom, you're cruising. But there's no, even your car and your engine has to work harder to accelerate, because it's fighting physics and wind drag and all that stuff to get up there, okay? It's harder to climb than to just be steady, okay? Same effect with your incline on your treadmill. It's harder to walk uphill than it is to walk on a flat surface, okay? Once you get to the flat surface, it's cruise. Sure, you're still exercising, but it's not. All right, I think you guys understand here. Guys and girls understand. So just like your car accelerating from the stop sign to the next one, or your stoplight to your stoplight, somebody pulled out in front of you, you had to slow down. Now you have to speed back up. Your car uses more gas, doesn't it? Absolutely. Read your gas mileage recommendations on your car or at a used car lot. They're going to tell you 25, or say, depending on your car, 25 in the city, 35 on the highway. That's right. You're not burning as much gas on the highway. You get more miles out of it on the highway because you're not doing that accelerating. It's the same thing in that fat burn zone, okay? And some people may even interval and they go fat burn to cardio and back. And they're still doing it some. And that's great, and it's going to get them results, okay? And like I said, even when you do the cardio, you're forced to accelerate through the fat burn. To get there, you're going to come back down. You're going to burn a little fat, but not that much, okay? So your body's going to start using other sources for fuel. So that's it. That's my explanation on if cardio is good for fat burn. No, true cardio is not good for fat burn. You understand why now. You understand why so many people in the bodybuilding world, gym world, it's not that they mean bad or anything by it, but they honestly think that they're doing cardio when they're not, okay? It's just scientifically impossible. It's like eating more calories than you consume or than you burn and thinking you're going to burn fat. It's not reality. It's not science. It's not going to happen, okay? So there it is. There's my I hope I set you free from that. I hope I helped you to understand your fat burning zone and your cardio zone. And when you hear cardio, you're not deceived and you understand what they're doing. And, just the more education you have, the better you're going to be able to deal with everything. So here you go. It's free. I hope you do like and subscribe to the channel. I will continue setting you free with good information. This is science-based, okay? I could draw from several scholarly references, one including my education and certification from the American Council on Exercise. It's like, I'll rate it in the top 5 best personal trainer certifications in the United States. You can argue with me if you want. They cite ACSM, number 1. The U.S. Navy uses them. I mean, come on with it. If you think you can beat me in a scholarly argument, I'd love to see your references from doctors and scientists, okay? Because I have them, and they're going to match mine. So, anyways, there you go. Happy growing, happy fat loss, whatever your goal may be. Happy heart conditioning, Oh, I want to say one other thing. I'm sorry, again, before I seem like I'm just picking on PEDs, and I'm not. I use them myself, okay? And I'll do videos on those. But also people with blood pressure medications. Certain blood pressure medications can elevate the heart rate. When I'd have a client put them on the treadmill, if they'd lied to me about being on blood pressure medication, I knew right away. Because when they first started, before their heart rate ever accelerated, it was already up 20, 30 beats from what it should be in their resting heart rate. And I'd call them out on it. I said, "You're on blood pressure medication, aren't you?" And they'd say, "Yeah." I'm like, "Come on, I'd have still trained you, but you can't lie to me. If I don't know, how am I going to know that you're going to hit your red line at a faster rate than somebody not on blood pressure medications?" And I would not have you be doing isometric holds, which also raises the blood pressure even more, okay? Please be honest to your trainer. They're likely going to give you a PAR-Q or some sort of questionnaire. Don't lie. It's for your own safety. All right, thank you. This is Tim again with Tech Muscle. Please like and subscribe for more fitness and tech videos. I have a playlist for both Information Technology by Tim and exercise science. All right, thank you guys. Peace and have a great day.